morning, and welcome to Ark and Dove Presbyterian Church in Odenton, Maryland. I'm Brian Boudreaux, the clerk of session here at Ark and Dove, and your host in the lobby, the program of the weekly goings-on at Ark and Dove. So today is Care for Creation Sunday, and we will be celebrating communion, so please take a minute to get your bread and fruit of the vine ready. Today we will be talking to Pastor John about several of the book groups coming up. There's something for everybody, but first, let's look at the announcements. One great hour of sharing is still continuing. This is your opportunity to help disaster relief and helping those lives who are adversely affected by crises and catastrophic events. You can help alleviate hunger and address the root causes of poverty so all may be fed. It is also about the self-development of people, helping people better themselves and help loosen the bonds of injustice. So please give generously to One Great Hour of Sharing. CAP is back. No, not that kind of CAP, the Christian Assistance Program. So we've resumed our collection of food for CAP, Food Pantry in Severn. Donations can be left at the church on the table just inside the front door or on the picnic tables outside. The CAP featured item for April is hot or cold cereal, and for May, it will be canned or dried fruit. So in addition, CAP needs volunteers to help carry bags of food from the pantry to cars 3 to 5 p.m. on Thursdays, one or several Thursdays per month, especially during the first hour and especially from April to June. The last session of Equipping the Saints is this Tuesday. It's the third in a three-part series on family system dynamics and how this can help or hurt organizations and their leadership. The series is being taught by Stephen Price Gibson. Don't worry if you missed the first two, you should definitely come for the third. You can get a Zoom invite from Tricia Gray. The Mission Meet and Greet Party has been postponed until August, so watch for more details later this summer. And now for our regular activities, we have Godly Play that continues every Sunday from 9 to 9:40 via Zoom for kids grades K through 5. Sarah Fox, our new Christian Ed elder, can get your kids signed up for that if they're not already. The weekly Bible Lectionary is every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Contact Pastor John for that Zoom invitation. Sunday Fellowship is right after service at 11:15. Email fellowship@arkanddove.org anytime during the service and you'll get a Zoom invitation. So the crafting group meets on the first Wednesday and third Monday evening of each month at 7 p.m. via Zoom. So the next one is April 19th, and Amy Tardif has the Zoom invitation for you there. Saturday night game night with the deacons, you can get a Zoom invitation from Ellen and Greg Makar. And finally, Friendly Seniors Tea at 3 on Thursdays via Zoom. Pastor Tim has the Zoom invitation for you. So today, I have a wonderful guest, Pastor John, to talk to us about the groups that are reading some of the books this spring. So welcome, Pastor John. It's great to have you. How are you and the family doing?
We are doing well. I just got my second shot yesterday, and so I'm feeling good. Went for a easy run today, and we are excited for Christina to get her second shot next week. And you know, the warm weather does a young family very good. So lots of time outside and messing around. Elias is learning how to ride a bike. Emery wants to learn how to ride a scooter, so we're having a good time.
Now, I understand you recently celebrated a birthday at your house?
Yeah, Elias, 4 years old. Yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy to think about. Sometimes look at him and a little bit shocked. And Christina's celebrating a birthday next week, but I'm not going to say what number that is.
We've been announcing several new book studies starting this week. Can you please tell us about them? Let's start with the one happening on April 29th about the book That All Shall Be Saved. What is this book about?
A lot of faith, and especially faith that we see in the public sphere, is motivated by an idea of who's going to get saved and how we get saved. And so I think even in this political climate that we're experiencing, there's an understated opinion about who gets in and how they get in, who's part of the club and who's not. And this whole concept of universal salvation really blows open this whole idea, and even exploring the idea of what eternal life is. Christian faith in America is so much focused on heaven and the hereafter. But I really think Jesus focused so clearly on the kingdom of heaven coming here. And if we focus on his emphasis rather than our own of us going to heaven, I think we do a lot of good by the world. And that's a really important thing to consider on this Earth Day Sunday. Or Creation Sunday. Trish and I are very interested in around the issues of heaven, hell, and salvation, and how we talk about that within the church. And we've been talking about doing a class or a study for a long time. Trish and I have both loved David Bentley Hart's book, That All Shall Be Saved. And so we're going to lead a class that explores the ideas on April 29th. Not required to read it, even though the book is very short and relatively easy to read. It's a book that is going to challenge some of the prevailing Western ideas of what hell is, and explore the concept of universal salvation, or that all people are saved and all creation is redeemed, as a biblical theme. So really interested in diving into that material with Trish. Trish is actually a really well-read theologian of her own right. So
Now, is it safe to assume that this book will reveal that Presbyterians are not the only ones getting into heaven?
that would be the correct assumption. Yes, yes. Uh, we have these ideas about predestination and election that Presbyterians hold very firm, and that there are some that are elect and some that are reprobate. But David Bentley Hart actually challenges Presbyterians and the Presbyterian tradition probably most harshly in this book. So that's a good question.
Next, the Gleam team will discuss a brief guide to ministry to LGBTQIA youth. What is this book about?
So again, we're really blessed to have readers in this congregation. Amy Tardif, one of our Gleam leaders, brought this book to my attention. Brief Guide to Ministry with LGBTQIA Youth. This book is a really, really slim volume that helps people understand the issues that LGBTQIA youth face, and also breaks down a lot of the terminology that sometimes can trip people up and make people feel anxious. We are asking that all leaders involved in children and youth ministry get involved in this class on May 18th. And we will get the book to you. We really just want an opportunity to explore how we might be more inclusive and affirming in our ministry, and be more attentive to what our youth are facing today. So I'm really looking forward to this, and really thankful to our Gleam team that's continuing to do some really, really great ministry. Just as an aside, we talked to a representative from More Light Presbyterians this week, and the representative was really blown away by what Ark and Dove is doing. Was taking copious notes. So I'm just really proud to be part of this church.
Yes, we really appreciate Amy, Amanda, Charlie, and all the leaders that have started Gleam.
Yeah, certainly.
And finally, Kim and Lenny will lead a 3-week series discussing My Grandmother's Hands. Are you familiar with this book?
Yes, I am. So on April 30th, Kim Champagne and Lenny Gerdner are going to kick off a series of 3 classes or studies surrounding the ideas presented in Resmaa Menachem book, My Grandmother's Hands. And this is another opportunity where you can get involved. You don't have to necessarily read the book. There's going to be a sort of a variety of ways that you can engage Resmaa Menachem's work. This is a really important book. I read this book right before I joined the United Black Clergy of Anne Arundel County in Black Lives Matter demonstration here in West County. And Menachem does an extraordinary job in showing us how the trauma that Black persons have always endured on this land lodges itself in the body. Um, and so, it's we often, especially maybe as Presbyterians, we go to the head first, and we like to think through the history and the philosophy, and break down biblical interpretation, and to see how slavery and racism has really impacted people, and impacted our thinking. Malcolm is going to focus it all on the body. How do these traumas, these wounds, carry themselves generation to generation, and also he addresses how white folks have carried, both their own wounds and their own wounding for generations and generations. Menachem also leads in great meditation exercises and reflective exercises that I know Kim and Linny are very familiar with. So you'll want to join this class, because it's just it explores some of the matters that we've been reckoning with as an anti-racist congregation in a more well-rounded and holistic way, and I think we'll grow from that.
Wow, that sounds pretty heavy.
It is heavy, but Menachem is focused on healing. So that's the emphasis of the book. So that's with really everything that we're facing as a country. That we're facing some heavy stuff. We got to face it, and we face it with equal parts grit and hope.
All these books sound really interesting, but I just don't think I have enough time to read them.
You don't necessarily have to read the book in order to get into any of these three studies, and to get something out of it. We really want to let this information, valuable information, to be accessible to anybody. So if you can't read, we still encourage you to join, and we promise to make all this material very accessible to you.
Well, thank you, John, for joining me today. As always, I love being able to talk to you. Thank you again.
All right, thank you.
So to recap the books and meeting times, we have That All Shall Be Saved by David Bentley Hart, led by Pastor John and Tricia Gray, on April 29th at 8 p.m. via Zoom. We have A Brief Guide to Ministry with LGBTQIA Youth by Cody J. Sanders. That will be on Tuesday at 7:30. And finally, My Grandmother's Hands, Radicalized Trauma and the Pathway to Mending Our Hearts and Bodies by Resmaa Menakem, led by Linny Girdner and Kim Champagne, over a 3-week period starting April 30th at 7:30 p.m. via Zoom. As always, thank you for joining me this week. More details on everything we talked about can be found in the archive or on the webpage. So have a great week. Don't forget about Earth Day on the 22nd. Keep wearing your masks and social distancing, and I will see you later in fellowship. The live stream service will begin in a moment.